How's it going, everyone? AFC Finners, we are back in London for a massive game today, Stamford Bridge. Home of Chelsea, they host AC Milan today in pre-season friendly. Very excited. I've done this ground once before, about 7 years ago. They hosted Newcastle in the FA Cup. It was when Conte was in charge. Batshuayi scored twice, then got shipped on loan to Dortmund the next day. Marcus Alonso also scored a free kick. How are you feeling, boys?
Excited.
So you two not been there before, have you? But
Never done Stamford Bridge before. I have a lot of Chelsea supporting family though, so it's really exciting.
I think it's a better ground than people give it credit for. Obviously, they've not quite been able to get the time, so that's what people say, but still decent. And we decided to go for a very American lunch. I guess in honour of Todd Bowley, gone to Wendy's. I've been to Wendy's once, as well as in New Jersey 9 years ago. Very small portions, they're Luke size rather than Finley size, which isn't very American. But halloumi wrap, can't complain, and whatever their equivalent for cream ball is.
Well, here we are then. Summer day, there's a big coal. So we'll wander around. Lead on, gentlemen.
Since we're here, we like to do our bits of nostalgia. So, favourite ever Chelsea player? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Drogba.
Drogba's close second, but I'm going to say my favourite is Lampard. In terms of personality, I definitely prefer Drogba, but seriously, Lampard I just think was like, it was just, I had to do it. No, but it was just like, there's just an elegance, a gracefulness, and just how casually he scored so many goals from midfield. I think he's one of those you sort of don't realise how lucky you are to go and watching some of that. But Drogba, like, as a person and a player, was absolutely incredible. Just the ultimate big game player. He was glorious. So Drogba close second, but yeah, I'd say Lampard in first.
Favourite Chelsea goal?
Ooh. What was that? Oscar against Juventus. He takes the touch on the edge of the box and goes backwards, and then he curled it and it went all the way through the air. One of the most beautiful goals ever scored. If you remember it, tell me your thoughts on that goal. What the fuck is Donald Trump doing it? Tom, favourite ever Chelsea goal?
That Drogba Everton.
Oh yeah, very good
shout.
shout. Yes, excellent goal.
I am going to go Ramirez's chip against Barcelona.
Oh, that is also a good shout.
Peter Osgood, Chelsea legend. A lovely sunny day for it.
Hello.
Got a great wall of fame here. Gianfranco Zola. Hey, I'd better check this one out. Oh, what a legend. So privileged to have grown up with watching him as a player. Absolute beast. Here on the club shop, it's heaving. I can't see any water bottles, so Hannah Hampton must have thrown them away. Like great Ray Wilkins, what a player. And look, there's a... Oh, sorry, I slipped. All of the spies are hidden away. Stop crying, Frank Lampard. But seriously, he was a great player. For goodness sake. Up we can hear the chanting. Unless I'm mistaken, that is where Chelsea were founded. I hate Tottenham too. Oh look, the Cheltenham Town squad have shown up. Alright, getting a quick sneak peek at the museum. All these Ivorian shirts, Zola, Sherman. Hey, David Luiz. Very nice selection. What's wrong? You haven't touched your spot at Moscow Vodka.
So, we're about to go inside, but before we do, let's find out about today's host, Chelsea. Chelsea were founded in 1904 when local businessman Gus Mears acquired the Stamford Bridge Athletics Stadium and decided to start up his own club after his offer to Fulham of leasing it was rejected. They went back and forth between first and second tiers in their early history and also reached the 1915 FA Cup final, losing to Sheffield United. They attracted huge crowds, having the highest average attendance in England over several seasons. However, major silverware would elude them for a long time. In 1945, they hosted a friendly against Dynamo Moscow and saw a record crowd of 100,000. 7 years later, former Arsenal striker Ted Drake took over and revamped the club. He changed the youth setup, training methods, and brought in smart acquisitions in the lower leagues. It paid off as they finally won their first major honour with the top flight in 1955. This saw Chelsea qualify for the inaugural edition of the European Cup, but opposition from the Football League saw them withdraw. Chelsea failed to capitalise on their success, and Drake left the club in 1961. Tommy Docherty took over and revamped the side, winning the League Cup in 1965, and his replacement Dave Sexton guided them to victory over Don Revie's Leeds in the 1970 FA Cup final. They added to their success by winning the Cup Winners' Cup the next year, defeating Real Madrid in the final. However, the club's fortune slipped, largely in part due to the cost of the redevelopment of Stamford Bridge, and the club also gained a reputation for hooliganism amongst their fan base. They ended up in the second tier and almost lost their home, but win the second division twice in 1984 and 1989. Matthew Harding became a director at the club in the mid-90s and injected cash into Chelsea to invest in their facilities and players. Ruud Gullit was appointed player manager in 1996, and they won their first major honour since 1971 by defeating Middlesbrough in the FA Cup final. Gianluca Vialli led them to further honours, winning the League Cup and Cup Winners' Cup in 1998 and the FA Cup 2 years later. Claudio Ranieri took over and guided the club to the FA Cup final in 2002, but they were soon about to experience a seismic change. Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich took over the club in 2003 and splashed out the cash on players. Ranieri was replaced by Jose Mourinho, who had recently guided FC Porto to victory in the Champions League. Mourinho was the man who took them back to the top, winning their first league title in 50 years in 2005, along with the League Cup, and they only lost one league game throughout the season. They retained their league title the next campaign, and also won a domestic cup double of the League and FA Cup in 2007. Mourinho had revolutionised Chelsea, building a fierce defensive force that truly upset the apple cart. But after a poor start to the 07-08 season, he was dismissed as manager, replaced by Avram Grant. Grant came agonisingly close to success, losing the league title on the final day and guiding the club to their first Champions League final, where a slip from John Terry in the penalty shootout saw them miss out on glory. Grant was dismissed, and Gus Hiddink guided them to the FA Cup the next season, before Carlo Ancelotti won the Premier League and FA Cup double the campaign after. 2012 saw them upset the odds. Caretaker manager Roberto Di Matteo led them to victory in the FA Cup, and they also upset Bayern Munich in the Champions League final, with Didier Drogba scoring a late equaliser and the winning penalty in the shootout as they became champions of Europe at last. Di Matteo failed to build on this success, and his replacement, Rafael Benitez, whilst an unpopular choice, won them the Europa League. Mourinho returned to the club in 2013, and in his second season, won his third league title with the club, as well as the League Cup, with them topping the league throughout the campaign. However, his third season was catastrophic, with a strong falling out caused by a dismissal of popular physio Ivo Canero, seeing the club only just above the relegation zone, and he would lose his job after a defeat to Leicester City, managed by the man he had replaced at Chelsea, Claudio Ranieri. Mourinho's replacement, Antonio Conte, revived their fortunes, winning the league with 93 points, although they lost the FA Cup final to Arsenal. The next season, Conte gave Chelsea a parting gift by winning the FA Cup against Mourinho's Manchester United. Maurizio Sarri's sole season in charge was an eventful one, with them losing a dramatic League Cup final to Manchester City, but also defeating Arsenal 4-1 in the Europa League final. He was replaced by Frank Lampard, who failed to win any silverware at the club he once played for, and he was replaced by Thomas Tuchel. Tuchel guided the club to the FA Cup final, but they lost to Leicester City. They would upset the odds by defeating Manchester City in the 2021 Champions League final, with a solitary goal from Kai Havertz, winning them their second Champions League title. The Russian invasion of Ukraine saw Roman Abramovich forced to sell the club, and they were taken over by Todd Boehly. The club have since spent heavily to revive their fortunes, and whilst Boehly's ownership has divided opinion, under Enzo Maresca, they have recently won the Conference League, being the first club to win this tournament, the Cup Winners' Cup, Europa League, and the Champions League, and they also won the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. They're hopeful of adding to their lofty list of trophies they have won in the 21st century, with hopes high for the upcoming season. Overall, they have won 2 second division titles, 6 top flight titles, 5 League Cups, 8 FA Cups, 2 Cup Winners' Cups, 1 Conference League, 2 Europa Leagues, and 2 Champions Leagues. And a bit of trivia, Chelsea were the first ever football team to use ball boys. They did this because they had the legendary William Falk in goal, who weighed 22 stone, and in order to preserve his energy by stopping him having to collect stray shots, you had to have ball boys behind the goal to get them back for him. So those are our hosts, Chelsea. Let's have a look inside their home, Stamford Bridge.
SW6, I'm in you. Afternoon, gentlemen. Lovely day, full of fit there. So last time I was here, somewhere up there with my older brother, saw Marcus Alonso score a free kick there. Watching Antonio Conte on the touchline was very funny.
So, Simon, let's have a month to tell the viewers where you're off to. What, a holiday?
Yeah.
Estonia.
Yeah, he's off to Estonia on a solo trip. Gonna find some football matches. I can't wait to hear what it's like over there in the east. How are you feeling about today?
Right,
It's going to be good fun. Very good spot from Tom this. He was in Portchester yesterday and he finally saw the 5-4 he's been anticipating. So time for a tattoo as promised, yes?
He said he'd get a tattoo if he saw 5'4", now he's not sticking to it. He used to be a politician.
There it is. One of the greatest midfielders the game has ever seen, old Luka.
Only a few minutes in and it's not a 0-0. Chelsea had a free kick on the left hand side. It was swung in and I don't think an attacker got a foot to it. They bounced off someone, maybe an AC Milan defender, and Chelsea take the lead. 1-0, not a 0-0. I think it's the 0 so far. Oh, I've caught the sun, haven't I? Here now, Chelsea went on the counter-attack, cross swung in, Sharp Pedro's leapt up in the air and headed it neatly into the bottom corner. The Fratellis are going to be getting their royalties from the soundtrack today. It's going to be some long after for AC Milan this season. So, half-time here, Chelsea have been dominant, they've been carving AC Milan to pieces. I think AC Milan should be downgraded to fan Milan, they've been awful. You'd never guess Chelsea have had essentially an eternal season, but really looking promising. But the second Allegri era at AC Milan is not off to a good start. Half-time 2-0.
There he is. Luka.
Penalties Chelsea, Liam Dillard played the ball across the box and that's a play past AC Milan. One of the AC Milan defenders, I think, drags someone down by a shirt, once the shot, everyone is appealing. The referee's giving him a point to his spot. I think Dillard's got the ball, so it could be a chance for him to make a statement.
Quiet in. Chelsea making it.
Your Chelsea goal scorer on number 9,
I thought you said it was good. So 20 minutes ago, AC Milan get one back. Yusuf Fofana's curled one in, Robert Sanchez near post. Is the miracle of Stamford Bull on? We'll have to see.
your Chelsea goal scorer number 9,
In the 9 minutes, Liam Dillard gets his second and Chelsea's fourth. A neat move, came to him on the edge of the box, he's tucked it under the reach of the despairing Magnon. Cherry on top, 4-1.
Well, a fun experience together in SW6. Chelsea looking very promising, very dominant performance. You would never guess they've been on it, just come back from the Club World Cup. So very promising season. Squad look like they're gelling considering the amount of changes. Not looking good for AC Milan, but see what next season holds. Tomato, you had fun? Yeah. Luciano, been a fun day, hasn't it? Good to do.
Really good day.
Yeah. There's nice ground to Tamor in the ratings. Well, we had an exhausting journey getting out of Stamford Bridge. It's Monday afternoon. We got out of there. I forgot to record when we got in the car. Spent ages after dropping Toronto off trying to find McDonald's for dinner. That was fun, but got there in the end. But yeah, really fun day at Stamford Bridge. Really enjoyed that. Thank you to Tomaldo for spotting that. It's a really good gem. And amazing to see, I'll just say AC Milan, but obviously Luka Modric. Honoured to see one of the greatest midfielders of all time. We'll see, Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez. Really amazing selection of players on show, and very privileged to have had such an opportunity. So, really good time. Really great to do a round of whatever you think of Chelsea. I never liked them growing up, still don't. But it's still great to have such an opportunity to do that. I won't be doing one this weekend, but we've got one coming up in a couple of weeks. And I look forward to sharing that with you. It's time to rate the experience at SW6. So we will start off with welcome. It's pretty solid, to be fair. I think they do a really, really good job of teaching you the history of the club. I thought the effort that they put into like having the murals of club legends, photos of historic moments, I thought was really good. A lot of detail and care taken of it. And you really do get to learn a lot about the club. And they're not just paying tribute to, the people like John Terry and Frank Lampard. You can go and see murals to people like Peter Bonetti, like great players in their past, and Peter Osgood, and learn a lot about them. So I think they're very proud of their history. And for the criticism of Chelsea, I think it's important they did exist before Abramovich, and there is still a lot of history there. And I think they do a good job of teaching people about that. One negative thing was there was a bit too much advertising going on. We had these people who were very friendly but obsessively shoving all this Visit Malta merch in your face, which I thought was over the top and overbearing, but not hostile. But supporters were very friendly, pleasant to be around. It was a nice atmosphere overall and no hostility between them and AC Milan. Very positive welcome, good staff, and I think a really good matchday experience. So I'll give the welcome a 9 out of 10. Food and drink, they're decent options. I think maybe could have done with a few more kiosks around the ground. But I liked a bit of variety, like they had a Lebanese food van. Not seen that at the ground before, and it's nice to sort of go with something a bit different to what everyone sees. I mean, it didn't get much in the grounds, but they had options. You could get a veggie curry pie, which would be interesting. I'm not sure if that'd just be sloppy and all fall out, but if anyone's had the pies at Chelsea, let me know. There was decent variety and plenty of food places around the grounds. You wouldn't be queuing for too long, so it's well organised in terms of that. So I think they've put decent effort into their food. Probably just could have done a bit more outside. Maybe they do that on competitive games, but I had to base it on what I've seen. So I'll give the food and drink an 8 out of 10. Atmosphere, it's obviously, I imagine, again, going for a competitive game, it is a lot louder, but I thought it was a really decent atmosphere. I think they really got behind the team, and sometimes friendlies can be quite boring, but they really did make it feel like, even though it was just a friendly, the goals did feel like they meant something, and they were really happy to see how well Liam Delap played. I think Chelsea really elevated the game to a status above a friendly. AC Milan fans are really good as well, so when you heard the Liquidator before the game, that sounded really good. Really enjoyed the atmosphere overall. And one thing I really liked is the fact that when Luka Modric came on as a substitute, a lot of Chelsea fans applauded. It's how often do you see Chelsea fans applauding a former Tottenham player? But it's nice to see that people sort of recognised as seeing the greatest ever midfielders in the flesh, and made sure to show respect to him. So I really respect that. So yeah, I think it was a pretty solid atmosphere. I'm sure it'll be much better in league games and stuff, but still pretty good. So I'll give the atmosphere an 8 out of 10. Stadium, I think, to be fair, it gets a lot of unfair stick. I think it's quite well maintained, very shiny, not everything's got a fresh lick of paint on it. There are certainly bits that are dated, and yes, it's absolutely clear that compared to the other quote-unquote top 6 stadiums, it certainly isn't the same quality. But I think considering they've been trying to move out for a very long time, they've done a really good job with the hand that's been dealt for them. They haven't just decided to let the stadium rot and think, oh yeah, well, we're going to move to place X in a few years, so we don't need to care about it anymore. They've done a really good job of maintaining it, and the area around the ground is really good. Lots of cafes, and you can do a good lap of the stadium. And they also understand that people want to do circuits to the ground, so they do that. And like I said, post all that history everywhere, so you can walk around and you get a really good understanding of the club. The club shop probably could have been a little bit better organised. It was just a bit crowded in there, and they could have done with either another club shop or just made it a bit bigger. It's nice to go in and see the museum bit and see lots of artifacts, you know, signed Drogba shirt, things like that, and like balls from like famous games in their history. So it's a really well set up stadium and you get to learn a lot about the club. There's maybe one or two areas that could have done with a lick of paint, but like I said, the majority of it was well looked after, and it probably won't be their ground for much longer amount of time. But I think considering they've been desperately trying to get away from there, they haven't run before they could walk and really do a good job of taking care of it. So I'll probably give the stadium an 8.5 out of 10. And finally, value for money, £30 for friendly objectively sounds like a bit of a con, but when you think about it, it's like they put out a full strength team. AC Milan also put a full strength team, and you know, I can say I've seen Cole Palmer play, I've seen World Cup winner Enzo Fernandez, and obviously Luka Modric. It's not often you get to see players of that caliber, so £30 I think for that you did get really good value for what you paid. I'm sure it's more for like other games, but I think Chelsea did a good job of realising that it might be the only chance a lot of people get to see a game there, and with the money you spent, you got something really good in return. Programme was £4, that's okay. I didn't need to buy too much, but for a club that's in a very posh area of London and has had so much success, it could be very easy to rip people off, but I didn't have too much issue with what I spent at all, so I'll probably give the value for money a 9 out of 10. So that was Chelsea, a club I didn't like at all growing up and still don't particularly, but I can respect a good matchday experience, and you know, it's great to be able to do something like that. And you know, I've grown up and seen them be a very successful club. It's great to have been able to go to Stamford Bridge twice now, and it was lovely to enjoy that with friends. Really good spot from Tomaldo, so thank you for spotting that. It's one the three of us have spoken about doing for a long time, but we weren't sure if we'd be able to do it. But at long last, we have been able to do so, and it was well worth the wait. But if you'd like to support days out like this, you can check out the link to my Patreon down below and support the channel for as little as £1 a month. I've been AFC Finners. See you next time. AFC Finners out.